Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive online training program on Instructional Design for Techno-Pedagogy Integration. You are watching us live on PM eVidya channels 6 to 12 and also on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. This training session is organized by CIET NCERT in collaboration with SNDT Women's University, Mumbai. Today we are in day 2 of the training session and the topic that we are taking up is models of instructional design. Viewers, if you have any questions in the middle of the session, please feel free to get in touch with us. Our phone number is 8800440559. Our email ID is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in. And on our YouTube handle NCERT Official, you can send us your feedback along with your questions and suggestions. Now, it's a training program. There is going to be an assessment on day 5 of the training session. So, once the program gets over, make sure that you attempt the assessment, and if you score more than 70%, you will be granted a certificate. For more instructions on this, you can visit our CIET website. I must tell you that you have to watch all our sessions very attentively, do participate, and please do not mark your attendance but ask relevant questions. Now, for day 2's session, we are joined by our experts. So, please welcome Professor Jayashree Shinde. Ma'am is Dean Interdisciplinary Studies Additional Charge, Director Malya Mission Teacher Training Center, Department of Educational Technology, SNDT Women's University, Mumbai. Ma'am, namaskar and very warm welcome to the session.
Namaste. Yes.
Now, ma'am, before you actually delve deep into the topic and go ahead with your presentation, I request you to kindly brief us all about the overview of today's session. What are we going to learn?
Yes. We generally discuss what is instructional design, what are various components of instructional design, what is instructional design process. But today in this session, we are going to see various models defined by experts of instructional design, because when the field grew, experts of instructional design, educational technologists started designing and presenting some models of instructional design. So we will discuss a few models today.
Right, ma'am. We are looking forward to your presentation, and whatever questions we will be receiving from the audiences, we'll take them up in the end. Now, I request you to kindly go ahead with your presentation, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. So let me start my presentation. Welcome you all. We start with just a definition given by Dr. Gani, but we will not wait to this definition. We are certainly going to discuss a few models. Before that, let us be on the same platform that instructional system design is the process of creating instructional systems. It's not about teaching, it's not about learning, but it's about the entire ethos or environment of teaching, learning, and assessment. Creation of such an environment which may be interactive environment, and learners may interact with this environment. So how to design such environments is instructional systems design. So designing of these environments is a very crucial process.
Right.
Let us start by imagining that you all are given a task to conduct a workshop. Workshop for teachers maybe very soon. And now you have the only message received that you have to conduct a workshop. How to conduct, for whom you do not know anything. Now it's your turn to get ready. So for getting ready, you might be having some questions in your mind. Think of those questions. Will you directly go to the venue next week and start conducting, or will you ask some more information? If yes, then what kind of information will be asked? Let us think and jot down in our mind or even on a piece of paper the questions which might come in our mind before going and conducting a workshop. So, many a times I ask these questions to some participants and learners, and I get the following answers. Questions as answers, of course. So people ask, but who are the learners? What is their level? And how many learners are there? How many participants? And most importantly, what is the topic? And why is this workshop happening? What is the need of this workshop? What is the purpose of this workshop? Will it be online or offline? When is it and how much time is this workshop going to go on? What is the duration? And many also ask what are the objectives of these workshops. Without objectives, I will not be able to prepare. Am I to conduct online, alone, offline, with somebody, or online with somebody? What is the mode and who all will be with me? Is it in team or am I the only instructor? What resources are available at your venue for me to come and conduct the workshop? Am I expected to use any material? Am I supposed to develop that material? Might be the next question. Or do you have set material? Are you going to assess participants at the end? Am I supposed to do anything for this assessment? Will be the next questions. Then another set of questions. How are the participants? If because we have to conduct workshop for teachers, that much we are told. Are they really motivated? Will these teachers participate in the activities I plan? Or will they just keep quiet and listen to me? Because this is the workshop, so they need to participate. How many activities should I plan in a day? It also depends on the duration of the workshop. Will there be assistants at the venue if I have some papers and material and if I have some technology to use? Will they need to take away some notes with them? Are they ICT savvy? If I am using ICT, will there be computer lab available? Will they bring their laptops? What is their socio-economical background also might be the question. Are we charging fees to them?
Right. And of course, we can see these are some of the important questions on the screen. Are the teachers motivated? Will these teachers participate in the activities that have been planned? How many activities should be planned in a day? Will there be assistants at the venue? Will they need to carry takeaway notes? Are they ICT savvy, as you just mentioned? And will there be computer labs available? Will participants bring their own laptops? And is fee going to be charged? Is there a need for brochure? So I think these are very important and relevant questions, and of course, the kind of material that is going to be used and assess the participants. I think these designs, instructional designs, should be designed in a manner that are going to be really, really helpful for
Yeah.
the experts. Now,
Yes.
yeah,
Is my slide visible? So, uh, yes. So these are various aspects which we address.
yeah,
Particularly, you saw many questions on learners, participants.
yes,
Then there is need. What is the content? What are the objectives? We need to analyze everything. What is the duration, venue, surrounding? What is the mode? What strategies are we using? What is the material? Are there some
okay. So we can see that all these aspects are very, very important. And yes, ma'am, please continue. And I think instructional design models provide structured frameworks for creating effective learning experiences, if I'm not wrong. Because we can look at some of the prominent models that include Keller's ARCS model. Then I also read about SAM, that is Successive Approximation Model. We also learned about ADDIE model. I think these models guide instructional designers in creating engaging, effective, and measurable learning experiences, if I'm not wrong, ma'am. These are just some of the examples. When I browsed the internet, I came across these, right? And of course, the questions that are there on the screen are equally relevant. So, yes, ma'am, please go ahead. We can say that, as you can see, viewers, that which levels do the teachers teach? It is also important. How many are they? What is the topic? Why is this workshop happening? And of course, because these days we're talking about blended learning, so we need to know whether it's going to happen online or offline. When is it? Duration? What are the objectives of the workshop? Also, is it conducted alone or in a team? What resources are available at the venue? What kind of material is going to be used? And of course, what is going to be the assessment of the participants. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Questions, whichever we have highlighted, and see, those are categorized in some different categories.
Right.
So these categories are listed here, various aspects are listed here. I would like to know whether those are visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Learners and need content, objectives, duration, venue, surrounding, mode, strategies, material, resources, assessment and implementation. These are the main aspects. Based on these aspects, when I said that experts have designed models, in every model you will see some of these aspects or all of the aspects. Generally, ADDIE is a very popular model. Some people say that ADDIE is not a model because it's not a structured design, only phases are given. But even if we say that ADDIE is a process, then what are these various aspects or phases in this process? It starts with analysis. So analyze, then design, then development, implementation, and evaluation. And you can see revision in between. So at every stage after evaluation, we may go back to revision. Even after implementation, we may go back to the revision part. So this particular approach is known as ADDIE approach of instructional design, and many industries, corporates, and even the education field uses this approach. This is some figure which shows the can carry model, which is not that visible in screen, but we will be reading and we will be coming to every small aspect of this particular model. So please don't try to read because I'm going to make it readable now. Thank you very much. Yeah. So you can see whatever light blue because the original image of model I had given, and now I have highlighted the stages. This is very detailed model which everybody likes, and Dick and Carey have studied thoroughly this model, and there is huge book on only this model. So in that book, every phase is discussed in detail. We can see that this model starts with goals, instructional goals, that is objectives. It goes to analysis. We are going to see these phases, and we are going also to compare these phases with ADDIE. So if we see analysis part, because in ADDIE we saw analysis is the first phase. In this phase, we can carry have again categorized goal analysis, instructional analysis, and learner and context analysis. So what is the content? What are the learners? Who are the learners? What is the context? So this analysis phase, if we see ADDIE and if we refer to the can carry model, we can understand that this is the first and most crucial phase of the entire instructional design process. Any system you start designing, even if you invite interior designer at our home or organization, they will spend maximum time on survey, design, question answers, taking measurements. Then why not in teaching learning situation? Are we really spending so much time on analysis phase? Are we really understanding and identifying learners' actual learning needs? Are we categorizing, classifying the work or the skill which is intended? Are we spending time on outcomes? So, a lot of trouble is expected, a lot of time investment is expected for this analysis phase. So, if we say need analysis, what is the significance of this topic? Why are we spending so much of time? Why are we so systematic in designing instruction for this particular topic? And the topic about that topic, what is learner's knowledge base and what are the goals? Are there any gaps in learner's knowledge base? Are there any gaps current achieved outcomes by a learner or a participant and expected outcomes? We need to identify those gaps. Accordingly, we need to identify characteristics of learners, knowledge base of learners, their level of motivation, commitment. So you can recall the questions which were presented before we started discussing these models. And learners' attitude also matters a lot, because if we have our typical delivery system, a typical content area, then how can learners relate to that? Are they motivated, interested, or not? And what is the context, whether the physical context, technical context, resources which we are going to use, are there any constraints to that place? So is there road noise around, is there electricity problem, is there internet connectivity issue? Particularly whenever we go online, this internet is a monster for us, because if whenever it gets disconnected, we get lost. So what are these various constraints? And topic analysis. Do you know, when we start content analysis, teachers generally stick to textbook. Instead, when they refer to a lot of material, even when they go to AI and collect material, then the best practice is to go on drawing mind map. What are various subtopics emerging?
Right. So we can also see that, instructional design
Or
models.
all this is entry behavior of the learner, and I am shifting to subtopic 7. So this map, we go on expanding and expanding to give teacher or the instructional designer real feel of the entire area, plethora of the field. And then we can highlight, and then we can design once we get the feel of this topic. So, collating raw content from various sources, identifying key terms, which are facts, which are concepts, procedures, all this will come in content analysis. After all this analysis, so in analysis, we saw need analysis, learner analysis, content analysis, context analysis. And once we have all these documents ready with us, then we can think of design. So actually, when in corporate field, the entire instructional system design takes place. Sometimes the analyzers are different. The analysis team is a separate team. They survey, they interview, they study material, they analyze everything, and the document gets passed on to designers. So as teachers, we ourselves are analyzers and we ourselves are designers. So as designers, now we are in the role of designers. So we start planning content. So outcome of analysis phase is used to create the actual design. So we design learning outcomes. So we design formative evaluation, and we design summative evaluation. Actual conduct takes place at the end. We all know that. But do we know that instructional systems design tell us that first plan evaluation?
Right. So this Dick and Carry model is actually a very important one.
And at left hand, when you see, I have given ADDIE. So ADDIE stages and Dick and Carry model actually is in relation. So what do we do at design phase? We chunk content logically. At analysis, we have studied and analyzed content. Now it's high time to give a sequence to this content, logical sequence. So we organize our content in effective sequence. Then we start designing how to present this content. Sometimes the content sequence may be different, but when we present it, for that we may show the end product at the beginning. That is our design of a sequence. For example, I am teaching one concept mapping tool. So instead of going to menu, then starting, I will show my concept map first. And then I will say, are you interested in drawing concept map like this? If yes, let's see how to draw it. So I have changed the sequence. I have shown end product first and then I am showing how to design it. So this is the my design sequence. Output of the content structure and sequence is a flowchart. So my content structure is one output. My sequence of flowchart of my teaching learning is another output. So two outputs of design phase. When we talk about learning outcomes, all of us as teachers and most importantly as instructional designers know this revised taxonomy of Bloom. Bloom had given taxonomy which we all know, knowledge, comprehension. But now, after that, in 2001, Anderson and Krathwohl revised this taxonomy and they started believing in actual verbs. And knowledge term was confusing, so they said, why not directly say recalling, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, and Bloom had synthesis. Here we say creating, and it is now shifted after evaluation because Krathwohl and Anderson believed, and even you will believe, that we can evaluate somebody else's work. That is comparatively easier. But when we are supposed to create something, yes, that is certainly more challenging, complex, and requires special abilities of creative thinking and critical thinking to generate, create new things. So creating is at the top, and we believe that when we actually design our teaching learning, we must start from applying to creating. And we also call co-creation. Why individual learners are supposed to create? Why can't students come together and co-create something? So deciding which learning outcomes, designing those learning outcomes on the basis of these labels is a very, very crucial phase in the entire teaching learning design phase. This is not for you to read. This is just to show that there are many action verbs which can help us in designing our learning outcomes. So if you browse, surf, or if you take help of AI, you will get the entire list on many resources of such action verbs. So please try to use these action verbs while writing, while designing your learning outcome statements. So for create, what should I say? Are my students building something? Are my students developing something? Are my students constructing? So construct, develop, create will be build, will be some of the verbs. Organize, many verbs. Plan, for evaluating also. Judge, critique, criticize, justify, many verbs will be there. So just go through such action verbs and start using different verbs in your learning outcomes. Coming back to the model, ADDIE model talks about this, and even Dick and Carey, we saw learner goal analysis and designing of learning outcomes, writing learning outcomes, specific objectives are tasks at this phase. The other important task we have already seen that evaluation comes at the end. But as soon as we write our learning outcomes, simultaneously, immediately, we should first design our evaluation strategies because it's a triangle. Based on outcomes, first we need to design our assessment strategies, plan continuous assessment strategies because continuous comprehensive evaluation, something given by National Education Policy 2020, I would say highlighted by NEP 2020. So what would be my formative evaluation strategies? What would be my alternative instructional strategies to achieve those evaluations? Accordingly, I will design my session plan. So, my evaluation strategies will guide me for teaching learning, and all of us know that if the test, final assessment is practical examination, then my teaching learning strategy needs to involve practical. If my final assessment is skill based, then practice of these skills is essential. We cannot give theory lecture and then ask skill-based questions. We cannot directly ask application-based questions when in teaching learning we have not allowed students to think and practice and apply something. That's why this triangle is important, and on the basis of our outcomes, we should design appropriate strategies to measure those outcomes, and our teaching learning content and our strategies will depend on these three nodes. What is my content? What are my learning outcomes? And what will be my assessment? Again, I am showing the can carry model to connect what we discussed in previous slides and this model. So in ADDIE, we discussed what comes in design, and now we are moving to development. So in Dig and Carry, assessment instrument development, we have designed. But if we have designed and written that there will be a language game, then I have to sit and develop that language game. So that will get developed at development stage. My entire instructional strategy. Then there may be, I'm conducting an exercise for which I will require cheats. I'll require some games. I'll require some puzzles. I'll require some sheets, task sheets, manuals. All this will get developed at development phase. So ADDIE also talks about development phase, and Dig and Carry also write three different aspects. So you can see that these are further elaborations or categorization of ADDIE phases. So I develop entire instructional material, but have you noticed very important word select? So it's necessarily not that we develop the entire material. Many a times the actual material is existing somewhere, resources are existing somewhere, and why to duplicate our efforts? Why not select resources which actually exist? For example, in the field of open educational resources, we use the term curate. So when you decide to develop some open educational resources, some e-content, first curate it. For our sessions, we need to curate, find out, identify various resources, and on the basis of that, whichever resources are not available as under open licenses, then we decide that let us either modify existing resources or develop. So develop and select, that select term is important here. So what all comes as per ADDIE? Develop resources. It may be storyboard if we are developing a video or a cartoon film or a cartoon strip. So it will require a script, then record it, edit it. If it is video, if it is multimedia, edit it, design something and develop. So entire development of resources will happen here. You develop teaching learning strategy at this stage. You develop evaluation strategy. So I gave example of say evaluation charts or games or quizzes. So actually developing that quiz in ICT environment or using various ICT tools and apps. Developing detailed session plan, and then developing that course on learning management system. Because if we are offering a course in online mode, we have so many resources, we have decided activities, but now we have to transfer those and create our course on any learning management system. Or if we are going to conduct a workshop, then developing, and if we are not using ICT, then developing material, entire bag should be ready as your magic Jadui Pitara. So the entire bag kit of my workshop is ready, and we are going to conduct this. And we have to prepare manual. Now, you may have a question here. If I am to conduct workshop, why do I need manual? But when we talk about instructional systems design, we are not talking about one individual teacher. We are talking about the entire team, and we are talking about generalization, standardization of such processes. Because we have, you can see that we have gone through such very detailed and rigorous systems. processes. And if all these processes are so time consuming, meticulous, efforts are involved, detailing is involved, then the entire documentation needs to be there so that the entire learning process can be applied by somebody else also. And even learners manuals can be developed. So learners manuals and teachers manuals come into the picture here. And when we try to implement. Now let's talk about standardization. Going to my workshop room, conducting that workshop is my individual effort. But if it is for large target, then I need to test my material. I need to test my prototype. I need to test my activity. If I'm designing a new activity, why not go and test it on some students and make it perfect? So after evaluation, revision is necessary for implementation. And then we conduct the sessions. We also launch courses. So whether it is MOOC, whether it is online course, we test it, we make it perfect, we revise it, and our course is ready for launch. And even we can publish material of that. So the next stages. Now we come to conduct part. We have seen this design and conduct formative evaluation, design and conduct summative evaluation. At the design phase, we saw these two, though those are the last phases, stages. There we design and here we are going to implement. Here we are actually going to conduct the evaluation. So go and conduct evaluation. How to conduct, how much duration, how many scores, are there grades, what are various assignments for formative evaluation, is there an evaluation rubrics, is there a grade sheet, whatever we have designed. Now it's time to actually conduct it. So if it is a very small unit and if we have continuous comprehensive evaluation, then we will conduct that formative evaluation. So at formative evaluation, we go back to unit 2. We again go back to unit 3. And after all these 3-4 units, then we come to conduct summative evaluation. So it is always better to revise our instructions after every small formative evaluation. Formative evaluation is not only for students or learners, it is for the teacher because we keep on getting feedback about our learners through such formative evaluations. And then our students are ready, yes, for summative evaluation. So we conduct evaluation through which we get feedback. We give feedback to our learners, but we get feedback and we revise our instruction. Now I'll end my Dick and Carry and Addy comparison, or it was not comparison, it was synthesis of both the models for everybody to understand whether we go through Dick and Carry, whether we stick to only Addy approach, what are the various phases. Before this, Dr. Gani has given us 9 events of instruction. So we will go through some other models given by other experts, though ADDIE is a very popular and common model. The other model which corporates apply is Gani's 9 events of instruction. And if you just go through this, close your eyes and imagine ideal session, how it goes on. I'm not talking about workshop as such, but interactive session. Teacher comes to the class, gains attention of students by telling a story or asking a question or showing a cartoon. But gaining attention is the first important step according to Ganning. Once you gain their attention, then you can inform them, but inform them what are the learning outcomes for your session. And before moving to actual delivery, because you have outcomes in your mind. So instead of directly targeting those outcomes, first understand what is their prior learning and then present your stimulus You present stimulus, they will go through the learning sequence. You just provide them learning guidance. Elicit their performance, go on providing feedback to them. This is the process Gane has given long back, and unfortunately we are skipping all those stages and we are directly teaching them something and assessing them. But Gane says elicit their performance and give them feedback and then assess their performance. This is how we can enhance their learning and retention. Let us go to CAMP model. Now we will just move a little faster because we have seen all these tips. Now we are just viewing and trying to understand how CAMP has designed instructional design model. How Dick and Carry design model we have seen. Now how CAMP has designed the model and presented. So again, even Kemp says Kemp's model is a circular model. Please don't forget it. It's circular model. You can browse through and find out. I have given one URL here, but if you Google, again you will get many diagrams of Kemp's model. You can yourself draw. It's circular because revise, revise, revise. Like ADDIE, this is circular model. So we are identifying. We are identifying problems, we are identifying goals, we are examining learners' characteristics, we are again considering subject, and we are thinking what tasks learners are supposed to do. Accordingly, we state our objectives, and accordingly, we logically sequence our content, we design our strategies, we plan delivery, we develop evaluation instruments, and even Kim says revise as needed. So whether it is Dick and Carry, whether it is ADDIE, whether it is K, everybody is talking about revision of instructional systems design. This is another model. I'm just showing you different models so that if tomorrow you have to decide and choose one model, whichever model you are comfortable with, you can deal with that model. Corporates also generally select models even according to the say organizations for whom they are developing instructional design. You may not be aware, some of you may not be aware, that's a huge industry which develops instructional design for others. So again, assure, A for analyze, state objectives, select media and strategy, evaluate and revise. Nobody is leaving revise. Require learner participation, that is the center, and even our NEP 2020 says that learner-centered education is important. So require learner participation is something which is added in the model itself in Assure model. It's a great thing. And utilize media and materials. Another model, Agile model is used in industry for the speedy development because I said that there is a huge industry which develops instructional design for others. So it's client based. If we, whenever we talk about corporate, we always say that in corporate everything was to happen yesterday. So what is the deadline? Yesterday. Deadline is over. It's always like that. So fast. The other model is rapid prototype model. So agile model is something like that, that easily you just go through these phases. Have I
Right. So, of course, we need to align, we need to get set, we need to
model?
iterate, leverage, and evaluate. Right.
Yes. So
Okay. Please go ahead, ma'am.
bridging something, getting feedback, going to continuous assessment and improvement. This is the last phase. So we have gone through a few models which we are not discussing in detail, but we don't even need to discuss in detail because we have discussed Dick and Carry model quite in detailed manner. And then we have seen some models which are giving steps and designs. So, do you want, we can quickly again revise only these last 5 models. You can see this is agile model, align, get set, iterate, leverage, and evaluate. So, agile. Assure model, analyze, state, select, utilize, require learner participation, evaluation, and revise. So, assure model. CAME model, identify instructional problems. It starts with that and it ends at revision. So even CAME model, I already mentioned that CAME model is a circular model. It starts again with instruction. And we will finally go back to our pick and carry stages. Let us go back to our pick and carry model. And we just stop once at pick and carry model to have overview of the entire field of instructional design. So this model gives us complete overview of instructional design model or instructional design field. So I'm just taking a pause here so that everybody can see all the stages before we stop.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, you have given us this presentation, and this is very important when it comes to model of instructional design. So, I have very specific 2 questions for you. First of all, I want to ask you, how can teachers apply any model of instructional design?
Okay, so basically what happens is when I spoke about these models,
Mm.
then I kept on mentioning in between that corporates use this model, corporates use that model. So these models are very familiar in corporate. These models are very familiar in the educational institutions or setups where there is mass production or say course development, MOOC development, e-content development. But this entire field is somewhat ignored by teachers or by the field of education. Teachers are not at fault. Education field doesn't take cognizance of these models. But now you have seen that if teachers use these models, any of the models, and if I say that next week I'm going to start this particular topic, how will I make this particular topic very effective? How best can I help learners achieve my learning outcomes? It starts with analyzing my learner, thinking about my learner, and thinking about learning outcomes. How many teachers regularly write learning outcomes of the sessions? How many teachers individually think of learners and plan something for them? So these instructional design models give a new insight to our teachers that yes, why not sit quietly, spend some time, surf and search, go to community, find out some good resources even from the community and plan my entire session in altogether different innovative way. Innovative pedagogy is again given lot of significance by NEP 2020. Innovative pedagogies will not come just by thinking before entering into the class. It's not a magic that I just before entering into the class, I think, today I want to do something different. No, please don't do that.
Right.
If we think, if we plan, if we develop material and then enter into the class, it will take
Absolutely. Professor Jayashree, I think there are some technical issues at your end due to internet connectivity.
oh,
That's why we're not getting the proper video and audio. But what we have got from this
yes,
entire thing, that's a very wonderful model. It can be used. And when we talk about integrating technology with the curriculum, I think such models can be of great use. Well, due to technical constraints, I
yes.
won't be able to take this conversation further, but I would like to thank you for your participation and contribution to the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that there was interruption. But am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am,
So
but the
do
video
you
is
say,
freezing
yeah,
actually. But thank you so much.
yes.
So, viewers, now it's time for me to wrap up this session. On day 2, we talked about models of instructional design under the umbrella theme of instructional design for techno-pedagogy integration. Well, with this, I'm closing this session over here. And let me tell you very quickly about the textbooks that are available for grade 4 and 7 on Amazon, Flipkart, and NCERT website. And as far as the schedule is concerned, you can take a look at what's all coming ahead. Well, in a short while from now, you can watch a session Sahyog where we will be talking about mental health and society. So these are the topics. Please break barriers and seek support. Do participate. This is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you. Namaskar.